When you come back from your hunting trip, uh, one of the problems that people have is CWD doesn't allow you to bring the skull back in the state without it being cleaned. And so if you'll cut your antlers off the skull cap, I mean off the skull, leaving them attached to the skull cap, you'll need to clean that before you bring it back into the state. So this is what you have. And so once you have that, you say, well, which skull do I use? And we've got three different sizes. This is a medium size, and our size is measured by the pedicle in all reality, but we do give you the length and width of the skull also, but basically you're sizing the skull by the size of the pedicle. Uh, this medium skull, the circumference was 5¼ inches. This one right here is 5½. Our large goes 6¾ circumference. So this is going to be the best match. It's just a little smaller, but it's going to make the antlers look bigger. But a lot of times when people cut them off in the wild, they don't get them straight, and they'll end up breaking them off. And so this one doesn't fit yet. We've got to go in and cut it and make it fit. But both this cut right here is crooked, and the cut across the back, it's got more on this side that we need to grind down so it'll fit in the contour. And then we're going to hang it on the wall, and we're going to test fit it, make sure that it hangs right and it's level and stuff like that. And it doesn't hit the wall before we do our epoxy work, just as a test fit. And when we put the antlers like how they should be, they're cut crooked, and they're also one side's higher. We've got to get that cut down. We're just straw fitting the cut that we just made, and that's right. It's got it straight, but we're hitting we're high on this side right here, so we're going to take it to the sander, and we're going to sand that off to get it to go down. We need to come down just a tad more. This particular skull cap was cut crooked across the front, and then it was cut short and it broke off on one side. So we're going to have to come back and do something to get it leveled, because we can't tighten it down, but we can line it up to where it's like it needs to be. I'm trying to get this right here and this in the back to be in line by going up and down, and it's real close. I'm using aluminum ductwork. Seems to work real good. I'm just making a dam so it doesn't leak out, and I'm not trying to get it perfect on there. Just I don't want it to leak. And I'm going to get enough material to fill this right here. I'm using a plastic to do. You could use Bondo, just something that's going to settle and give you a flat surface in here. So when we drill through it, put our screws in there, it's going to have the screws something to rest upon, the two screws that help balance it out. This plastic that I've got right here is it's a 50-50 by weight, and I estimated that that's roughly going to be about 80 grams of casting material. It's going to fill that cavity up. I'm going to have to hold it level here in a minute to pivot it off one of those points. I'm waiting for this to get hard. I mean, not hard, but warm. I can feel the cup warming up. so I won't have to sit here and hold it too long. You could use like a 5-minute epoxy or something like that that's going to set real quick that you can pour in. All right, we're just going to peel that tape off. See how it filled in that brain cavity right there. All right, we're lining up our, right here. We're going to line this up right here in the center. And we're going to elevate, we're going to drop it down to see what it looks like in the back. All right, that's about level right there. We're going to put our holes so that we can put our screws in, and they've got to be angled a little bit to go in, and we're going to countersink them too. Those are going to come this way, and these are going to go in this way. And what it does is we're going to elevate and lower one side, and then we're also, when we put our other screws in, it's going to tighten down, and it's going to teeter-totter, and it's going to get us where we like that we're going to blend everything. We'll stand back and look at it, see if we got it straight. Now, you got to take into account not all antlers are symmetrical. This is our first time hanging the skull up on the wall, and the antlers aren't symmetrical, but we determined that we're off, maybe 8 or so degrees, and we need this side to come down. We took it off several times to adjust the screws, the height and stuff. We decided we wanted a center screw and pivot off of that. We're going to do our epoxy work on it and let that sit overnight and hold it in place. Okay, I got the epoxy. We call it epoxy putty. It's 50-50 by weight, and we mix it up real good. And we want to put it down in the cracks. We're not really that concerned about how everything smooths out. We're more interested in the cracks. We're going to pack it up underneath here. See that this is going to be a real nice job once it's done. There's not a quick, easy way to do these things if you want to do them right. You're going to see the final product, how well it blends in and everything lines up on it. We tried our best to give you a good quality skull at a fair price, and it'd be something that you're proud of. Mount, you can take somebody that did a crown mount or a antler plaque, and you could put it on a skull just like this right here. Or if you got one hanging up outside, there's ways of restoring old antlers that you can fix that so that you can come back and make a little bit more life out of them, display them a little bit more. And I've just tried to come in and fill that gap. And tomorrow, or whenever this hardens, I'll be able to come in and go over it, and it won't sink or move as much. But right now, if I tried to do very much, it would constantly move on me. All right, it's the second day or second session. We've allowed the epoxy to dry, and by coming back over it, what we're concentrating on is high spots that need to be sanded, both epoxy-wise and sometimes on the skull to blend it. And if there's any bone that's sticking out, now's the time that we're going to grind it too. But we're just going to come back and knock it down with a little gritty sandpaper, just so that it makes the transition a lot easier to smooth. Right here, this is a 60 grit, so I am being kind of aggressive on the sanding part right now, but it's just to help remove excess, both epoxy and, like I said, casting material. Boy, it really set up stiff. You know, you could put some tension on it, and it really did hold it real good and tight, that epoxy, by packing it up underneath it. We talked about, I think we did it off camera, that the filling the brain cavity up was optional, but it really does help to have that smooth surface or level surface underneath it, putting those screws on there. We've been using the board to help hold the skull, and the next application of the epoxy sculpt is going to require a little bit more liquid to it to help it smooth. Rubbing alcohol is what I like to use. Some people use water, some people will use different materials, but anyway, it does cause a liquid run to fall, and I don't want it to get on our board, so I'm going to go ahead and take the board off right now. We've got it marked, and it won't be a problem to line it back up. I like to use a rubbing alcohol, and it doesn't matter if it's 70 or 91 or the green one or whatever, but it seems to do pretty good. It evaporates quicker than water would, and I feel like I get it a lot slicker with the rubbing alcohol. When we apply this coat right here, we're trying to get everything to blend. Now, if we miss a couple of spots, especially knife nicks, there's some knife nicks in this bone right here when they skinned it. They'll show up whenever we put our first layer of paint on there, and we can decide if we want to sand them out thin or if we want to just apply more paint and fill them in. But I'm just going through right now, and I'm getting everything to blend. Just using a paper towel with a little rubbing alcohol on it to help wipe our excess smudge marks off. We've let our second a coat of epoxy dry, and we're coming back with a 120 grit, and we're just making sure that our contours are smooth. We got her all sanded up. We're getting ready to put our first coat of paint on it, and we're gonna take some oil-based clay, and this stuff is reusable. You can use it. We're gonna take and we're gonna wrap it around the burrs. We don't want the paint to get in the burrs, and this is easier than taping them off. It's just running this clay around there, and you just want to kind of line it up so that it covers up the brown part. So this will keep the paint from going up underneath it. If you use just tape it, you'd have to be cleaning the antlers off and stuff like that. I had two different brands, and one of them I could stick in the microwave, and it worked real good getting it soft. This second one, microwave didn't really help it that much, but I could set it out in the sunlight, and it gets off quick in the sunlight. We're going to be painting the artificial skull and the epoxy, and we're going to be painting this bone right here too. We're going to add, we like to use this Fusion white. This is Fusion flat white. The can's been shook up for 2 minutes, and that's the key to get that flattening agent to work. I just take a trash bag and kind of wrap it around this main beam here and bring it up to this point. I might use a little tape just to keep it from getting on there. We had a seam line back here that was a little bit built up. Okay, we've got a couple coats of paint on here, and we're going to come back with a diamond bit that's real sharp pointed, and we're going to come in and we're going to make us some stitches down through here, and it's just a squiggly line. Got a little rubbing alcohol, a little paint down here. This is our teeth dentine color paint. When you look at a skull, they have a gum line that comes up on their teeth where the gums grow down to it, and that's flat white. And you just push it down against your teeth, and you push away from the skull like that. And there you go. You got your teeth on the outside. We'll do the whole section like that. We're spraying the teeth after it's dried. We touched up the antler burrs a little bit with some of the same paint from the teeth. We just had very few of those that came exposed. But we're using a Krylon clear matte finish, and it just locks that paint on there on the teeth. All of the convertible skulls or the slotted skulls, they're pretty much the same steps. You know, whitetail, of course, is smaller. The nice thing is you're not losing a spread or anything. It's exactly like you killed it. And if you got one that's in the book for Pope and Young or something like that, they'll accept this because the skull cap was never cut. The antlers were never taken off.